Father, I wanted to know if master is also an illusion.
Master also an illusion. Means what? What do you mean by illusion?
I mean, a dream, something that's appearing in the dream.
Ah, so is the if you call the rest of this appearance an illusion, then the master is also an illusion. You see? Now, what is the difference then between the master and the rest of the illusion? And the rest of the illusion, it is operates mostly as if it is a distraction to increase our idea that I am this person. It is the masters which are pointing you to this reality that you are not a person at all. So, in this play, in this realm of Maya, everything is an illusion, but it seems like the purpose of most of the illusion is to bring you to this, to distract you from your real truths. And that is why when the master appears, then he points you and says, who are you in reality? You see? So I would say that although the master also is an illusion, ultimately it is the most auspicious part of the illusion, at least that's how it was experienced here.
You were not audible, yeah.
Something is wrong with the audio today. I was saying that it is like everything else, the outward appearance of the master is also an illusion, but it is the most auspicious illusion that appears because it takes us away from the illusory forms to the real essence of who we are. And then you start to recognize that the master is not this outer body at all. The true master is your own presence, your own being. So the purpose of the master, outer master, is to point you to this inner master. And in my experience, in my living experience, I have not met anyone, including the ones who say that no master is needed, not met anyone who has found the truth of who they are without the living presence of a master. Of course, you hear about them in stories and mythology and history, but I have not come across one who has awakened to the truth of who they are without the support of a living master. It is more important for you to ask whether Prachi is an illusion. Is Prachi an illusion?
Not in my direct
Not your
experience,
direct
no.
experience. Not your direct experience that Prachi is an illusion. Then is your
Yeah,
direct experience that Prachi is real?
yeah,
Yes?
yeah.
Then you must be able to show me this Prachi. Where is she?
I can't do that.
Can't do that. But why? If she's real, she must be here, no? So my submission to you is that you must inquire into this idea. The reality of who I am. Let's clarify that. Before we can decide on the reality or unreality of external things.
Father, when you say everything is an illusion, sometimes I feel, oh yeah, I'm free. I feel good about it. That okay, I'm free since everything is an illusion. But sometimes it feels, oh, what is the point in doing something because it's all just a dream. It's not real.
That's why I'm saying that before we can come to a conclusion about what the world is, we must come to the seeing of what I am. You see? Am I part of the dream? Am I part of the appearance? Am I something which is coming and going? And if I am also coming and going, who is there to see this coming and going? It's very simple what I'm saying actually. Are you something that comes and goes, or are you a constant?
Mm. Father, as long as the me is there, it's very difficult to answer actually.
Me is there right now.
Yeah.
Where is it? It is an
No, it's
idea.
me
No?
who's doing all the talking.
You know this? Or you're just presuming? Or maybe you heard it somewhere recently and you feel like, oh, this is all the me is doing all of this. If the me could do something, it would have some tangibility, you know? It would have some existence. The me is just an idea. The ego is just a belief. There is no tangible existence of it. If we had to destroy this me like a tangible one, then we would have to wage war on it. We would have to kill it. We don't have to do any of that. To see that it is unreal is the dissolution of the me. The me cannot do anything because the me does not exist. It is just a belief. And this me you cannot find. Can you find the me that is the doer? And as long as you believe that there is a
No,
me,
Father, the one.
there
Yeah.
is a I that is the doer, then you will also experience this sense of suffering, because suffering is this a result of this false belief in the existence of a separate doer, a separate experiencer. Don't buy any idea unless you can verify it for yourself. Produce this me, let's see this one. Let's ask this one, why does it do certain things? Why is it bound? Let's produce this one, where is it? If you cannot even find this one, how you know the me is doing the cooking or whatever you say? So non-existent one just appears to do the cooking, is it? That's a nice solution to not being tired. Right now, what is here? Is that an individual?
There is an I.
Yes. So this I is which one?
There,
Which I is this one? Does it have the name Prachi? This I? What is here now? Is there a sense of existence that is here? Is there a sense of existence or no?
yes, there is.
A sense of existence is there. Now, this sense of existence is Prachi.
Mm,
Or is the one that is aware of this sense of existence also, is that one Prachi?
The one who's aware of the sense of existence also is Prachi.
This one is Prachi. Okay, now this Prachi, this one that is aware of the sense of existence, what does this one want? Is this one bound or free?
I feel it's bound.
You feel it's bound or you see it's bound?
I see it's bound.
You see that the I which is aware of your sense of existence, that is bound.
Yes,
Bound by what? What can bind it?
attachments.
Ah. But this one that is even aware of the sense of existence, does that have an attachment? What is this awareness attached to?
It's attached to external things, people,
It's attached to what?
external things, people.
External things. How is it attached to them? Take one external thing and show me how awareness is attached to that external thing.
Okay, for example, my family.
Yes. Right now, how is awareness attached to your family?
I don't know how, but I am attached to my family.
I am attached. You see? So you say this I now, which is attached to the family, is the same awareness?
I only know I am attached. Uh, I don't know of any awareness which is not attached.
Right now, what is the most direct, most clear idea or the most direct seeing that you have about who you really are? Who are you really? Who are you?
a witness.
A witness to all appearances.
Yes.
Yes. Now look for this witness, look at this witness and see if it has any attribute. Does this witness have a color?
No, it's formless.
Formless. Okay. Now, this formless one, check and see. Is it possible for something that is formless to get attached to something? Why is the formless concerned about form now? If itself it is formless, what does it get from form? Okay, now I'm just seeing some family photographs. Is that the witnessing trying to show me the attachments? She's also become formless. You don't see her anymore.
What is it that is binding me with the family?
You have to tell me. I am saying that there is no bondage. If you really see that you are this formless one, unless you are visualizing or doing some creative imagination, if you really find yourself to be this one that is formless, it will be so obvious to you that the formless one cannot be bound by anything at all. The only bondage has been this presumed, this pretend bondage of believing some idea, concept. But in the light of your seeing all these ideas, they dissolve. I am not saying that you are bound. You are saying that I am bound. I am saying, show me where the bondage is. So either you are visualizing this awareness,
Yes, probably, yeah.
you see,
It's a concept for me.
maybe it's still just a concept, you see, but find out who is also aware of this, who is aware of this visual. If your mind is painting some dark space and saying, yes, this is awareness, this is the one witness, check who witnesses even that. You see, now two things can happen. When I ask you to check, two things can happen. One, the first thing that can happen is that you may actually check, simply, openly just check and find that this witnessing is formless and yet it is I. This is the first thing that can happen. The second thing that can happen is the mind can feel so tired with this inquiry. It is ready to latch on to some conceptual idea of the truth. You see, just to be free from the seeming suffering of the seeker itself. We can go to a conceptual framework which seems like, yes, this answers all of my questions. I'm finding some peace in this. But that is not a lasting peace. It is just the temporary relief from the questions. You see? And then again, when any conceptual idea, what we picked up doesn't work because it is not verifiable, it is not our living experience. You see? Then ultimately
Father,
will
till the
come.
time,
Yes, yes.
Father, how can I see the formless till the ego is there?
How can I see what? The bliss?
The formless
Yes.
till the ego is there.
The ego is not there. That's what I'm saying. The ego is just a belief. If you believe yourself to be in Timbuktu right now, just because the belief is there, will you feel like I'm actually there in Timbuktu? Is that real, your presence in Timbuktu? No. Just in the same way we believe ourselves to be a person, doesn't mean the person is actually there. You see, there is no way to kill the person because the person does not exist. If you keep reinforcing the me is there, the ego is there, it is the me that is doing this, we are giving reality to that which does not exist. If the me was actually present in any form here, you see, then we would all be helpless to the me. The dissolution is only the dissolution of the idea of me. And every day in satsang, I say that this idea of me, this idea of the ego, is only reinforced by our belief in our thoughts. And what do? We still continue to believe our thoughts and then say, why is the me not going? Without believing your thought, do you have any trouble? Nobody does. No matter how real our troubles might seem, when we are caught up in the belief with our thoughts, if you just see that it is just a belief, the I that is suffering is only a belief. The I that is the individual doer is only a concept. The I that is the individual experiencer is just an idea I have. Nobody, the ego cannot get rid of the ego. What does this mean? Because the non-existent cannot do anything at all. Therefore, you that is here, this consciousness, must be able to see that there is no individual me right now. That is what the pointing is for. Who wants to be rid of the ego? Can you find that one? There is one that is the ego, and there is one that wants to be rid of the ego. So, are there two of you inside?
No, there's only one.
This one is which one? If this one was the ego, there is only one, you say, and then you might say that this one is the ego. Then will the ego say the ego must go? Why will the ego want its own death? Who is this one? Will the me say the
But it's
me
the
is the
ego
problem?
only.
Then why will the ego want to be rid of the ego? If the ego is here and it is the only one here, why will it say, okay, okay, I don't want to be here? Why would the ego want its own demise?
Because it knows that its own demise will bring bliss.
What? Because it knows its own demise is
Knows that its own demise will bring bliss.
the own demise will be bliss, but for who? Ego is the only one here. Once it is dead, everything over. No, who will experience the bliss?
But Father, is it possible to live without an idea?
Can't hear
Without
me.
without ego? Father, is it possible to live without the idea of me?
Yes, that's what we are seeing. But if all there is the ego there, then how is it possible to live without the idea of me? That is the only thing that is there. For this truth which is beyond the ego, cannot be the ego itself. The urge for freedom arises for who? Why would the ego want its own demise? And if the ego dies, then who will experience the bliss of this freedom? All that you are is the ego. You see? Then there is no concept of freedom from this because it is all that you are. Then what are you looking for really? You must be finding that there is something which is prior to this ego. I want to be rid of this ego, remain as that which is prior to this ego. So my advice to you is don't label anything as anything. Just see for yourself what is going on here. You might find that this world of phenomenal appearances is playing, yet there is a witnessing of it which remains untouched by it. And you can only find this through direct experience, direct checking. Are you tired of the inquiry?
Kind of.
That's what happens. So when you become tired of the inquiry, it is the mind which is saying that oh, me anywhere, it is so frustrating because the me is still here. You see? And then what will happen is that this tiredness can allow you to let go of this mind, or you will latch on to some set of ideas which will say, oh, inquiry is not needed now. It will sound like a lot of truth. But if the truth is what is being pointed to, it cannot be resisted. The looking at what I really am cannot truly be resisted. So if you find yourself buying this resistance to the inquiry, know that you're believing something which is just conceptual, and it might even give you some idea of relief, but you will not find this lasting contentment which comes only with the discovery of the self. What is tiring about the inquiry?
Sorry, brother.
Hmm?
I didn't get you.
What is tiring about the inquiry that you're so tired?
Father, not getting an answer.
Yes. So, to find that the inquiry does not have a verbal answer, it does not necessarily lead to some experience also. You see, brings you to that I, which is not intellectual, which is not verbalized, that I which is prior to phenomena. And I have broken the inquiry down to very, very simple steps. I have said first ask yourself, can you stop being now? Then you see that this beingness is here. Then you can check, am I aware now? You find that the answer is yes, but I do not find this awareness as a phenomena. Yet I know of the existence of this awareness. This I is which one? Then you will find that it is this witnessing I.
Father, this awakening happens on its own, or it depends on my practicing this inquiry.
Okay, say
Uh,
louder then, come closer. This awakening happens when?
on its own, or it depends on me practicing the inquiry.
As long as there's a sense of a me, this, as long as there's a sense that I have some choice, I can do something at all. You see, because very conveniently sometimes in Advaita we are given this concept that yes, awakening will happen on its own. You see, but then we must also see that everything is happening on its own. If you are able to see that everything is happening on its own, then there will be no sense of control, no sense of ownership, doership. You see, and without this sense of doership, the ego itself cannot survive because this is surrender. You see. So if you see that everything is happening on its own, then there is no concern about anything at all. That is Karma Yoga. You see that everything is just happening. I have no attachment to the outcome. You see? But what can happen sometimes in Advaita is that, you see, oh, awakening has to happen on its own. You see? So I must not do anything for it. But the not doing is also doership. You see? So is it that, is your question everything happening on its own or only awakening happening on its own?
Awakening happening on its own.
So if awakening must happen on its own, then the rest of your life cannot be run on its own. Why must awakening happen on its own? If there is a separate you, if there is a me and there is a God, but you are separate, then how will God make it happen for you? You are separate, no? So awakening only means to see that there is no separation. Then you see that everything is happening with God's grace. You logged on to Satsang today. Did it happen on its own or you logged on?
I logged in.
You logged on. You are speaking these words. Are they happening on their own or you are speaking them?
Father, I'm getting confused.
No, you must answer with integrity, you see, because I feel that somewhere you're buying some concepts which are not living up to the integrity of what you are seeing. You see, you are seeing. So if you're finding that I am the doer, I am logging on to the hangout, I am speaking these words, but awakening that should happen on its own. So either we see that everything is happening on its own, and even if the awakening has to happen, that will happen on its own. Or if I still feel like I am logging into Hangout, I am speaking these words, then I can very well do the inquiry. When the sense of doer itself is gone, and you see that everything is happening on its own, then you will say that even the inquiry happened on its own. But as long as Bhagwan said,
Yeah.
as long as there is a sense of an inquirer or a doer, then we must do the inquiry. Otherwise, you'll create this mental dichotomy, which will say, okay, awakening must happen on its own, you see, but all the rest of the things which are being done are done by me. Only awakening must happen on its own. Can that be reality? That only awakening happen on its own, everything else you have to do.
No.
Cannot be. So you will come to this point where you see that all is happening on its own. Then your question will become, oh, all is just happening on its own. There is no individual doer, is there? You see. But the minute you say, oh, awakening has to happen on its own, should I still do the inquiry? Already conveys to me that you're still believing yourself to be the doer of the inquiry, but you're buying a concept from somewhere that inquiry should not be done because awakening will happen on its own. This is the misuse of Advaita. Either we see that everything is happening on its own, or we find out who we are. Cannot be conveniently only for awakening, oh, it must happen on its own, but in the rest of my life, I believe that I am the doer of all my actions and the experiencer of all that happens because of those actions. Hmm?
Okay, is it like that I'm doing it and but it has to happen that way?
Uh, Say, is it like that? I am doing it.
Yeah, but it has to happen that way.
Happen which way? What way?
The way it's happening. I
You
mean,
see
it's
that,
predestined.
okay, so if the outcome of your doing is predestined, isn't what you're doing now a result of what you did 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago? You see, you first open the computer, and if the outcome of that is predestined, then whether the hangout came or not is predestined. You see, then whether you logged into the hangout or not is predestined. So it cannot be 50-50, you see. You must either see that everything is just happening on its own, including the movement of our hands, the movement of our mouths, the movement of our feet, all actions. Either we see that everything is happening on its own and therefore predestined, or we see that I still have the sense that I am the individual doer of something. And if I still have the sense that I am the individual doer of something, what have the great sages said we must do? We must inquire into who we are. So if you see that everything is happening on its own, that is surrender. If you still find that I still am an individual doer, then do the inquiry.
Okay, Father, thank you.
Thank you.